Hi everyone.
Yeah, forget that guy. I'm Jay Clifton Payne. This is Things You Might Have Heard, and you'll see that happen as soon as we do this. There we go. It's Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. Thank you so much for being a part of the day. Apologies for being a little behind. It's been kind of a sluggish morning, sluggish evening last night. So hopefully we will make it up to you with the news stories. 11 news stories today, a whole lot of Trump. Trump makes up almost 43% of the news this morning of Trump related stories, and maybe some that I even didn't think about after I put them together. So if you love you some Trump, we got plenty. If you don't love you some Trump, we still got plenty, and that's what's on the way coming for you. And these are stories that kind of got lost in the shuffle. Although they come from major news sources, they're not really being reported because there's other Trump things going on, if you will. We're not even talking about the special master saying, yeah, you got to tell us what documents you classified. These are other Trump things that all happened in the last 30 hours that you said you wanted to talk about, or you were conversationalist. Maybe you didn't want to necessarily talk about them, but they were conversational in this as well. That's what we do here for Things You Might Have Heard. If you want to know how to be more conversational or get more conversational stories, it's very simple. Just follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. You see them right there at the top. There, that's always there as well. And we'll explain more how it works in a moment. I'm going to pull the collar real quick and try to fix that. And thank you for being part with us for your jaunt with your tertiary news source, your news side piece, if you will. Check out our main website, which is, of course, this is conversationproject.com for more details behind and sometimes in front of the scenes. Let's get on with the news, shall we, since we're a bit behind. Peloton Row, fitness maker unveils its first rowing machine. This is the very top story in conversation over the last 30 hours. This is what you guys really want to talk about, Peloton. Now, I'm not sure it was because it was just Peloton or you're interested in there and trying to expand their business of rowing machines. Peloton's not doing so great after pandemic. Sparks are starting to shimmer. That was totally out of order. But the whole point was everybody bought a Peloton when the pandemic happened because they had extra stimmy money and they couldn't go to the gym. Then they realized why they didn't go to the gym in the first place and stopped using their Peloton, stopped paying their subscriptions, or got cheaper bikes and cheaper subscriptions to go what was going on. So Peloton, not quite the darling in fitness as it is, which happens in most fitness realms. So they're expanding. They're lowering the prices. They've hired a bunch of people in the marketing department. They're trying to get cheaper bikes. They're selling the bikes, and they're also say equipment now on Amazon for a bigger stretch. And of course, they're putting a rowing machine into the lineup. So check out the new rowing machine from Peloton. You can see that, the Peloton Row, and see if that's something you want to add to your dusted collection in your basement because you're running out of space for the other equipment that is out there not being used. Tiffany Haddish reaches deal with alleged sexual assault victims to seal photos in court war. This is getting ugly. Tiffany Haddish, who was the darling of everybody for a while, when this thing popped out with her and Aries Spears, this thing got really nasty quick. First, it was one of those things that was kind of rumbles of stuff, because it took us a few weeks to really understand what was happening. Then it got bold and big and not so beautiful very quickly. Tiffany Haddish, who's been more amenable to kind of get this fixed than Aries Spears, who's just basically saying everybody's out to get him, is reaching a deal with the victims to seal some photos and kind of get some of the stuff out of the way. We will see exactly how well or unwell this works out, because this thing is not going away as fast as Tiffany Haddish or Aries Spears would like it to happen. This thing is still deep. Check out the story to keep up your details on the actual details of the story. But this is someone that everybody in Hollywood was loving at the moment. Two people in particular didn't quite love what happened in the past, and it's coming back to haunt her and some Aries Spears as well. PWIs stands for predominantly white institutions, if you will. USC Majorette team video sparks HBCU debate. USC has a new Majorette team out there to parade at their football games and their other sporting events and just out in the general public. No big deal. The big deal about it is the new Majorette team at USC, a predominant white institution. Sips for effect. Pause. 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 More pause. Looks like what you'd see at a historically black college or university, what the Majorette team that they have there. Basically, the dancing girls, if you will, that follow along with the band and do all the things going on. Now, The debate comes from, are they stealing black people culture? Literally. Is the a predominantly white institution, USC, are they trying to pull from the HBCU's playbook? And if they are, is it fair or is it unfair? Are they stealing a move? Or are they stealing a culture? What's the actual word on that? This when it was a podcast, when it was a newsletter, when it was something else, and I did for um you know, uh, the weekly wrap up, and we used to say sometimes the issues got black. Because I am black, sometimes these things pop out, and we pop those things in there for conversation part. And this is a very well diverse type of audience. In fact, it's a global type audience for what we have here. So sometimes the black stuff would go over people's heads. This is one I want you to kind of digest, because this one's actually has some meat to it. It's USC having a Majorette team that looks a lot like what they do down at FAMU. A steal, or is it a flattering move? We can chat that up anywhere you want to, all the locations, in the newsletter, in the email, and my social media. We can chat this thing up, because this is one that I really want your opinion on. Let's move on to this one right here. NYC, that's New York City, ending vaccine mandate for private employers on November the 1st. Now, in most places, private employers have already lost or given up this fight, because it's just what it is. And most people are trying to back away from this. And the private mandates have been lessened over time. New York City, which sort of leads the way in COVID action, if you will, still have the mandate on for many folks. They're going to end that mandate in about a month. So look out for that and see what happens. The ripple effects of that work right there. Now, the Trump stuff. Trump story number one. New footage confirms that fake Trump electors spent hours inside Georgia election offices the day it was breached. This was the breaking news yesterday as we were working this. And this is something that I posted to post a few hours after we actually did this live. And it made the difference, because it was a very popular story. It was in the range. We'll explain the range of stories we picked from to talk from. And so you guys want to chat this up. The fake electors that were all over the place were actually inside of the facility, looking at stuff, touching machines, watching things go through with surveillance video of them just wandering around. They had no right to be there. They were not selected for any purpose to be there, other than the fact that they're going to go and basically do an Ocean's 11 and rob the election, and they got caught on tape. So here's proof that people were doing bad things. Trump story number two. Trump to face sexual battery suit under new survivors law. Jean Carroll is going to throw up again another suit against Donald Trump in sexual battery. She's been doing this publicly ever since he's been president, probably for a lot longer, trying to push things behind the scenes, but it didn't make a big deal, or it didn't get big deal news of it until after he was president. She's essentially the only person that's pushing for any sort of actual sexual assault case, a ruling against Donald Trump. She's definitely the only one that's doing it as he was, and while he is no longer a president of the United States, using that presidential power as a sort of a shield of protection for stuff. She's been pushing it. She's been on the news. She has been vocal about it. And we'll see whether this thing is going to be pushed or whether this will be pushed away again. Trump story number three. Cheney, semi-quote, on January 6th, fellow House members objecting to election called Trump the Orange Jesus. Some quotes from Cheney and talk about some of the January 6th stuff happening in real time. After all of the insurrection stuff, there were still a bunch of people who were going to object to the election of Joe Biden over that other guy, Donald Trump. And what some things, as Liz Cheney said, they talked about was a quote from more or less was the things we do for the Orange Jesus, i.e. the things we're doing for Donald Trump to keep him in power, to keep ourselves in power. If this does not look like just naked power grabs and naked just holding on to the realm of a thought process that we need to be in control of stuff because we exist and other folks either don't have the ability to do it, or screw it, we just need to be in charge as long as possible because we like being in charge. If you can't see this stuff, I don't understand what's going on. It's pretty much obvious out there. And while you can take both sides and say, well, yeah, it's obvious, but we want the power, so we're going to do this. It'd be great if you were to admit it, but of course, saying that the quiet parts out loud is what goes on. It's pretty gosh darn obvious that Donald Trump is not qualified to do what he's doing. Somehow got slipped into this thing, and that there are someone. It would be one of the things we think that someone was pulling strings on Donald Trump's in marionette stuff. But the problem is he's just running stuff like ramrod, just like crazy, but throwing up candy and sugar to people, and they're just going for it, and they're just not brushing their teeth. And while their teeth are rotting out, they just eat more candy because they like the candy. Not exactly the best analogy in the world, but it's just what's sitting there. Why are the people wanting to follow this guy? I can't even see. He's not even offering anything they want. He's just saying what they want, and then just kind of blowing things up in the process and mucking things around, and not really giving anybody what they want, except for people who are really, really rich and want the rabble-rousing republic to just be a bunch of crazed folks at their gates anyway. They don't care. They don't care. He doesn't care. Republicans don't care. Power grabbers don't care. Nobody seems to care. Trump story number 4. Trump claims he would have gotten a better seat than Biden at the Queen's funeral because he can't just let go. Donald Trump was not invited to the Queen's funeral. In fact, nobody but Joe Biden was invited to the Queen's funeral. There was no extra envoys invited to the funeral. So many people need to be there. There's so much security, and the fact that Trump was not allowed to go, even though he thought he had a special bond with the Queen. Although that Queen bond essentially just went down to Prince Andrew, being dumped from royal service for being allegedly attached to Epstein, which Donald Trump is, and that's pretty much the only bond we can figure out. However, there are pictures of the seating arrangements with thousands of dignitaries around the world, and Trump saying that Biden sat in the back. I wouldn't have sat in the back. I've sat more front. I'd have got a much better seat at the Queen's funeral than Biden would have. Remember, we didn't even talk about the special master stuff, the thing that they're actually talking about in the news. These are 4 other stories that aren't getting a lot of love that happened with Trump in the last 30 hours that you deemed worthy of chatting up. Semi-Trump. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell ordered to face voting fraud defamation suit. He's been ducking this case for a while, just like Alex Jones has been ducking cases for a while, just like Steve Bannon's been ducking cases for a while. Looks like Mike Lindell is going to have to face the music and really go face to face for the vote fraud defamation suit that he has against him. DirecTV announces they will compensate NFL fans for week 2 after Sunday ticket debacle. 2 weeks of debacle, 1 week of compensation. We'll see what happens for week number 3. And we wrap up with Spotify announcing launch of audiobooks for U.S. listeners. Not exactly breaking, or I guess it's breaking news, not exactly, massive news, but for folks out there who follow the wars in the streaming services, both digital or both the video and audio, and follow how Spotify is taking over everything. Spotify is essentially the leader in music. So we Google that. Spotify also is a leader in podcasts, even though traditional podcasters such as myself don't see the grand works there. Spotify, because they can pay a lot of big names for special type stuff, they are the leader in podcasts. Their actual podcasts. There's the Audible thing that's technically not podcast because RSS feed. That's geek stuff for the most part. For people, they go to Spotify, they pull the music, they can get their podcasts if they want to. Now Spotify is getting audiobooks, so they are becoming a very, very big threat to Amazon and its super duper closed garden with its Kindle platform, and its Amazon has its own platform for podcasts, and of course, what's going on Kindle, I guess for digital books, and then the audiobooks with Audible, which is a subsidiary of Amazon. So check it out. Check it out. Spotify now is putting out audiobooks, so you now will soon have one-stop shop for things, which of course, after you rebuy all the stuff you bought every place else. Let's talk about our teaser story for today, which could talk about tomorrow. We had this posted. I don't think we actually talked about this one, but Herm Edwards was fired. Yes, we did. Herm Edwards was fired from Arizona State football over a very blistering loss over the weekend. However, May have been a leak of intel of things to basically tell their opposing team to get a handle on the actual game that allowed them to win so profoundly to get Herm Edwards fired because it was a conspiracy. I love a conspiracy. I love a sports conspiracy, and this is one where the opposing team basically got the playbook so they could beat the team to get the coach fired. You want to talk about it? Vote it up in the feeds over the next 30 hours. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter or Facebook and engage with it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it, read it a few times, and let us know that way how great important it is. The engagement comes from the top batches of stories. So tomorrow we're going to pick from the top 15 stories posted. It should be around 30 to 33 stories over the 30 hours. We'll pick from the top 15 stories and pick about 7 to 10, 11 of them to chat up with you. If this one makes it in the range, we will chat it up. Guaranteed. Let's talk about chess. Chess is in the news. This story about the grandmaster just bowing out after one move and saying, deuces, I'm done, is a big deal. This thing is just rippling back and forth across all sorts of different media. So while chess is in the news for, the bad boys of chess, if you will, time to get a good set of new chess pieces and sets for your living room, for your dining room, or a great, good-looking travel set to take along the road. This is conversationproject.com/the chess store is your home to our link for the Chess Store Incorporated. Beautiful sets for your living area, for your dining area, for your bedroom area, for your office area. Chess accessories, all the things you need for chess, and good chess stuff. They have, as the thing says, wood sets, metal sets, theme sets from different ideas, antique reproductions of old sets, also plastic and travel sets that will be nice looking and not just cheesy looking, that are unique and luxurious. Your chess needs can be met by one stop to the Chess Store Incorporated. You can hit that stop by going to thisisAconversationproject.com/the chess store. Now let's get to the websites of note by hitting the right button. This is a wrong button day today. Our main website is thisisAconversationproject.com. And if you go to thisisAconversationproject.com, you'll see more things about the Conversation Project. You'll see more sponsors if that will help us out and cost you nothing extra to visit. You'll see the partnerships page, which maybe you want to help us out by being a direct partner with us. You'll see some of the old stuff we're doing. You'll see some of the new stuff we want to do. They're at the main website. You'll also see links to our YouTube and our podcast page and our TikTok page, if you will, so that you can make sure you get this thing either live with notifications on YouTube or on the replay audio version coming down soon. In fact, about 10 minutes after we're done with this. Also, our feeds, as we always said, Twitter, this is a conversation, or Twitter is twitter.com/th_conversation. And Facebook is facebook.com/this is a conversation project. Follow the feeds. Every 50 minutes, we post new stories, new news headlines for you to like, love, hate, and share. The more engagement you give to it, the better chance we get to talk about it tomorrow. All that said, today is September 21st, and birthdays on the day. Dave Coulier, the actor, the comedian, and apparently the target of the song You Ought to Know. And it makes really, really weird pictures of Alanis Morissette going down on Dave in a theater because he apparently is that guy. We still don't really know who You're So Vain is all about. We think it's Warren Beatty. Nobody really knows. But we have a good idea that Dave Coulier is Alanis Morissette's target in You Ought to Know. And so now you kind of know. Oh, by the way, he's 63 years old today. The twins for the day, Alfonso Ribeira, who is now on Dancing with the Stars, which is now on Hulu or whatever, ABC Plus, whatever streaming service ABC has. It's not on main TV anymore, but it still has Tyra Banks. And there was a story the other day about the fact that having 2 football games on instead of Dance with Stars was apparently much, much better for the ratings. Good luck. Good job for those guys who are having gigs, and we're not going to take anything away from them. But Alfonso Ribeiro, 51, and Luke Wilson, with a big slew of things he's done. Right now, I'm watching him in the Stargirl TV show because I'm a fan of bad CW superhero shows, because I am. Luke Wilson turning 51 years old on the day as well. World Gratitude Day. Let me be honest. As a person who's dealing with some stuff and not feeling all that gracious, as I was basically eliminating other days, basically came down to World Gratitude Day and another one that I, felt even less spectacular about. So we're putting up details for World Gratitude Day. Now, as I just said a moment ago, I'm not feeling too gracious for a lot of things, but I am gracious for life, whatever liberty I have, and the ability to do this at times. Although some days it is more of a struggle than others. But today is a day that we should, as a world, everyone around the world, should show a little bit of gratitude and understand how great we are where our situation is. So even if some of us are in not so great situations, this is the day where you wonder how it could be worse. And you show some gratitude for where you are and gracious for who you have around you, graciousness for who you have around you, and work those out as well. Although today has been kind of a strange one. But we're going to wrap this up on a very short going out the door thing. Here we go. According to a survey by Visa, Americans spend nearly $48 a week on, well, who knows what. We are spending about $200 a month on miscellaneous stuff that we just don't keep track of. So you were spending you'll spend about $200 a month on things that Visa will probably list in its stuff as miscellaneous, things that you can't really describe. It's not household goods, it's not food, it's not business wear, it's not clothing, it's not recreation. It's just stuff. It's just like tins of Altoids. Just stuff. You don't know what it is, but you bought stuff. You came back, you went to the store, you have a receipt, there's a bunch of stuff in there, and then you put it away, you never see it again. It's miscellaneous. You can't really just tell what you get. It's not like, going to a grocery store and like, oh, I need this, and you pick up a couple more things. You don't really know what they are, don't need them. They're just there. They don't really register. Miscellaneous, about $48 a week. So if you're looking to save a little more, the best thing to do is just literally do a better job of labeling what you're buying as what it is. And then you'll see whether it's miscellaneous and non-trackable or miscellaneous and not necessary. Financial advice on this Wednesday. I'm done. It's not Monday. Let's do this again. Wednesday. How about that? September 21st, 2022. This has been Things You Might Have Heard for this day. Thank you so much for being a part of the day, whether you're watching it in the live stream or whether you're watching it on a replay down the line. Make sure you are staying hydrated, stay limber, stay on task for all the great things that you're needed to be here for. If you need someone to talk to, the new number to dial on your cell phone is 988. That's 988, the new suicide prevention lifeline. It is there for you 24/7 now via a cell phone as well. We also want you to just be around for tomorrow. We had a good batch of stories today, even though we had some difficulties getting to this point, as it has been this week. But we want to keep giving you great stories as tertiary news stories, things that you don't see. I have news apps, news things on all day long, and I watch what the major headlines are and what the major players are presenting. And if I didn't go digging for some of these stories for my own self, for just save my own disappointment, I would, hopefully you're getting something out as well. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to do this again tomorrow, so we can work through all the stuff and, just be here.